The Sony FX30 is one of my favorite cameras ever as a content creator, but what I dislike most about it is the battery life. And I believe this is the solution to that. The Cineback by Caleb Pike, or Camera Foundry. I'm going to show you how the Cineback works, how it fixes my battery issues, what additional parts I use for this setup, and all of this to help you decide if it's really worth it to even get one of these, or if you should seek alternatives like this. I bought the Cineback a couple of months and I've used it for mostly here in the studio, or at least my apartment, as well as a couple times out at church. But prior to that, I was doing some long shoots in these environments, and it was so easy for me to go through the Sony batteries. And although I have 5 or 6 Sony batteries, it started to become a little more problematic when I started to incorporate more pieces to my rig, needing different batteries as well, and worrying about keeping them charged and keeping the spares. Yes, I love a functional camera rig, but I don't like the extra pieces that I have to bring along as well. So essentially, more gear, more problems. But I wanted my rig to work, and I wanted to keep it going for the long run. And in order to do that, I needed a one battery solution to power all the things. My camera, my monitor for the camera, as well as any additional things, whether it's like a follow focus or whatever. Sometimes I'll even put my phone on here just to be able to track my shot list. And to be able to do all of that in a seamless way just by swapping the battery in and out. So what's the Cineback and how is it actually going to help? Well, the Cineback is really just this back part of this camera, and it allows for a more compact rigging style. It gives creators 2 cheese plates, one on the top and one on the bottom, with a V-mount battery plate in the back. And connected to that on the side is what they call 4 D-tap ports that you can use to power any of your accessories. Right now I have a D-tap to a Sony dummy battery, so it keeps my camera powered at all times. And if you don't know what a D-tap cable is, it's pretty much a cable that you can plug directly into your V-mount battery system, or in this case, multiple D-tap ports. Think of it like a USB-C, but for these special batteries. The thing is, are these 4 D-tap ports enough for your camera rig? Well, I like to have one dedicated for my Sony camera, which is really just a Sony dummy battery. Then I have another one, which is a D-tap to DC cable to power my monitor. And I have another one when I'm using my phone, which is a D-tap to USB-C. And every time that I run out of battery on my V-mount, I don't have to disconnect each and every piece of D-tap cable. I just hit the switch here on the side, take it out, and then swap a new one in. I have 3 V-mount batteries. They're all compact. I have 2 small rigs and 1 newer, all 99 watt-hour batteries. And it usually lasts me a couple of hours. And my favorite part about these V-mount batteries is that they charge through USB-C. Normally you would have to charge through a D-tap port. Thankfully we don't have to charge that way anymore, and we can be a lot more simple when it comes to our charging solutions. Alright, let's break down this setup a little bit more. Alright, so we have the FX30 in one hand, and then we have the Cineback in the other. Normally I'm using a Falcam cage, but it's not compatible with this Cineback. You can also use a Tilta as well, but I ended up with the small rig just for more consistency with the parts and overall color scheme. So Caleb does specify which one that you have to get, so this one I did order separately. For my setup, I removed the battery door just so that I can easily use a dummy battery. Unfortunately, the FX30 does not have the dummy battery door that you can easily just pop up. But other than that, this is just a regular cage. On the right hand side, I do have this clutch hand grip that I bought from Peak Design. I prefer just to use this just because I have a better handle on the camera itself when I'm not using the top handle. If you're wondering about the skin that's on this is from AlphaGuard, and I'll leave a link in the description for all the stuff that I'm including in this setup. Right, as we see here in our rig, we have our D-tap port on the top, and in the bottom we have, I believe these are called Mondo ties, which just allow for better cable management. So I can easily plug in my D-tap cable here and route it to the bottom or the top. On the underside, when this is not here and this is mounted to the camera, I would usually put some kind of Manfrotto plate or a Falcam F58 plate instead, which is just a square base that just works better for their quick release system that I have on my other tripods. On the top here, I have another Mondo tie. This is just so I can route better for the monitor that would go here or go in front of this. Below it, I have these Falcam F22 rails or plates that you could easily slide your F22 accessories from FileCam. I have plenty of those accessories, so it just makes more sense for me to be able to use this style instead of just threading in other accessories. All right, let me just put this together and you can get a better sense of what the actual rig looks like. Okay, so if you really want to run things bare bones, we really could just shoot it like this, pull out our master monitor here, but of course we at least need the battery. So first things first, I'm gonna plug in this D-tap to dummy battery for the Sony Z battery. Okay, we're gonna just place it here at the bottom, and then since we have that open latch there, we'll just go ahead and slide that in. Cool. Now we got this dangling part here. Now we can just kind of tuck this. You can just tuck this on the inside, and just so that it kind of stays in place, you can go ahead and use this Mondo tie like so. By the way, if you don't like this orange color, they also come in black, blue, and I think other colors, but these were like special edition for the time that they were out. So I bought into the hype, but I think it's pretty cool, complementary colors. Now with our D-tap battery, all we really need is a V-mount battery. This is a small rig, and we're just gonna slide it in like so. And then on the side here, just flip that switch, flip on this switch, and then flip on the on switch for the camera, and then you're good to go ahead and film, whatever. So right now, if you just want longer battery life, this would be one way to do it, and a heavy way to do it. But if you wanna go ahead and even out that balance, I'm gonna throw on that top handle by FileCam. This is their F22, and on this handle itself, I have already attached F22 plates on the back, on the top, and in the front. Now normally when I'm shooting my talking head segments, I will attach a arm to a microphone pointing this way on this front here. So I'll take this 11-inch here, and I have a double plate. At the end of this double plate, I'll put an F22 to cold shoe, slide that on like so. And then for my mic, I have the Kamaka VM30, where you can plug it into the mic port here. Loosen this up and then attach it right here. But just for the sake of this framing, I will not do that. Oop, popped out there. So instead, what I will do is mount a monitor. I have here the Viltrox DC550, got the cover and all. On the bottom, I do have an F22 plate here. It didn't fit initially. I did have to drill a small hole just for it to actually be flush. And what I'll do is I will mount another FileCam accessory, their monitor mount, which goes ahead and slides on like so. And then the other end, you can choose to either keep it in the front or keep it on top. I personally keep it on the top, especially when I'm using another microphone, so then I can go ahead and monitor like so. And surprise, surprise, I do use a Condor Blue right angle HDMI cord just so that it's not awkwardly sticking out on the side. But I have the HDMI in here. I do wish Viltrox had it more on the sides, but it's okay and it works for what I'm using this for. And then again, I can tuck the rest of this cable here through the Mondo tie so that I can still operate like so, no problem. So far we improved our battery, improved our monitor, and then if we were gonna plug in the sound, you can go ahead and mount other things, whether you wanna mount an articulating arm like I did, or if you want to go ahead and get yourself an F22 to cold mount here so that you can fit on like a wireless mic receiver like DJI Mic 2s and just slide it in like so, and then plug it into your mic port on the side. But other than that, this is good to go, especially for handheld. You know, it's got a good weight. It has everything you need. The only thing I didn't include in this setup was just the F58 plate. This is compatible with Manfrotto mounts. You would just pretty much just slap it on the bottom, just thread in 2 separate screws just for security, but you could also just use your own Manfrotto plate or whatever plate that you're comfortable with. But before you go, as an alternative to using an 11-inch articulating arm, they also do sell 3-inch and 7-inch articulating arms just so that you have a better alternative to recording audio without it picking up any of your monitor noises or whatever. And you can just slide it in like so, and you pretty much have a dock rig here. Look at that, it almost looks like an FX6, which is really what I was really going for. And I'm really happy that I didn't have to spend $6,000 just to get something like that. If you're someone who likes to use the iPhone and likes to keep like your shot list on there for some odd reason like I do with Notion, I can also just go ahead and use another arm here or some other monitor mount. Like when I'm not using this, you know, I could just slap this on the side bend it like so and just monitor from back here. Or if you're one of those people who use your phone for monitoring, then you could also just replace that as well. Anyway, that's cool. So that's just something that I do. Just more mounting options. That's one of the beautiful things about the F22 plate is that you can just almost mount whatever. And here's also a MagSafe. Here's also a MagSafe one or a magnetic one. So you can really just attach it the way that you want. There's that option as well. Less secure than a clamp, but hey, you know, whatever suits your fancy. So is the Cineback worth it? The base package is gonna be $329 US, but if you want the mic extension, if you bought your FX30 or FX3 with the handle, it's gonna be another $295 for that. Generally, I would say it's great for small-time filmmakers or any content creators who are going to work in a studio or like to work handheld or even have one of those cool easy rigs and just have this mounted on like that. It's gonna be great if you're going to be working with a team and you have HDMI transmitters. They do have a separate accessory for that. I think that's around $70 US or something like that. It's just amazing that you could just mount the way that you want with the cheese plate on the top and the bottom, and you can really just customize it for your use case. But if there's anything that I love not mounting on this thing, it's gotta be rails. Because overall, it just adds to the bulkiness of your rig. And if there's any cons with this particular unit, I would say that it's still gonna be bulky overall. I mean, if you're not used to using this kind of cinema rig, or I guess camera rig in general, you know, you are going to have more attachments, whether it's on the top, the sides, on the bottom. If you want to do things like a top-down shot, it's going to be a little more challenging to mount that unless you have like a strong tripod or some kind of top-down mount. So yeah. And then if you're lazy like me, you probably don't want to spend time, you know, unscrewing things and tightening things just to get your FX30 or FX3 out. But it is simple because it is 3 screws here, 2 on the top and 1 on the bottom. And because I use foul cam, it's just easy to go ahead and slide things on and off. If you're looking for alternatives to this thing, I would say that I have seen a couple on Instagram and Facebook, but I decided on the Cineback just because Caleb's face is behind this product and Caleb is someone that I can trust, at least with my FX30. In the end, the Sony FX30 or FX3 is an amazing value with its bare form factor. But if you need to rig it up like this, the Cineback is a great way to do that while maintaining a more lower profile or not. But if this is out of your price range and you're still looking to build up your Sony FX30, well, you can also look at something like this for less.